Hey everyone, this is Chromes. It's been a little while, and I'm a few levels lower than I used to be, but I've not died in Minecraft or real life, just had other stuff going on. Anyway, I finally got around to designing a new smelting system. I'm gonna build up a few of these in my new main storage, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I just want to show it real quick. I'll show the basic build. It's really pretty simple, except maybe the shulker loader, but it's not that bad either. And there's some interesting things about it I haven't seen anyone else do. So let's take a look. So one of the things I was looking for is I wanted to be able to smelt a full shulker of items efficiently. So I have as an input just a chest minecart, and there's 72 furnaces. There's 2 lines of 36, and so that divides evenly into 24 sets. So the chest minecart will go around 24 times, and because minecarts on powered rails move about 8 blocks per second. Every 10 seconds it takes to smelt an item, let it go 80 blocks, and at 72, and with the delay, it's just quick enough that it'll come back and drop a new item in just before the furnace runs out. So it's got a good even number for shulker blocks, and it also uses coal, charcoal, and blaze rods efficiently. And I thought that was pretty cool. And this is the upper control mechanism. All it is so very simple. This minecart here is sitting on a detector rail. Take the output. So as long as there's anything in here at all, it'll have some output, and it'll power both these redstone dust. You have that on a solid block. It'll power this, which will let the fuel minecart go, and it'll also power this block. Take an output from there, and it powers this. So anytime this is in this position, with anything in it at all, it'll open both fence gates, and that allows it just to continue to cycle till it's empty. It's really, like, that's all there is to it. It is that simple. Another thing I wanted to figure out was for unloading everything. I didn't like having to mess around with the hopper minecarts. Hoppers move items at 24, or rather they move 2.5 items per second. So 25 hoppers, I would be able to handle like 25 smelters. In this case, 72 divides evenly into 3 with 24 each. So you have 24 hoppers coming down the one row, 24 down the other, and then 2 sets of 12 combined. So you have 3 output hoppers up here, and that's enough to take the full output from this farm. So I have 3 hopper chains coming down. You'll see in the time lapse when I built this, I initially set up with just a double chest in the middle. So that is legitimately all you need if you want to use it like that. You can get rid of this mess here and just add a double chest in the middle. And with that and the little tiny bit of redstone at the top, that's all you need to build a smelting system like this. And the shulker loader itself is really simple. Take an output from each hopper. So when items start flowing through, the output from each hopper will combine to make the sticky piston push the redstone block over here. That unlocks this, allows the item to flow over here. And in the creative world, it seems like all you need is 2 items in here. I don't like cutting it that close. This gives you a buffer, because there's some inconsistency in the items coming down. But just having a couple items in there will allow it to stay over in this state. So continuously have an output here. And so only once it's done smelting items, it'll break the shulker box and dispense a new one. Now, one thing this does have is you can load any number of different types of items into the minecart, but you need no more than 27 inventory spaces to be used, otherwise it'll back up and it'll get stuck. So I have here a collection of items, and I'm using, I don't even remember which mod it is, like item scroller or something that allows you to manage your inventory a little bit easier. You may want to do something like add a sticky piston to push this out of the way, or to pull that out of the way while you load up the minecart. But this works for me. So all I do, put them all in. Both minecarts get sent off. And you should load it first. You should load the fuel first. See there, it's take the items out. So you should load it up with fuel first, and I recommend loading it up with fuel before you place all the rails. Do I do it? Because I just have the item there to take up extra spaces, and you fill it up with one fuel type. Works. It may work other ways, but this looks better to me, and you only need it to. You don't even need it to send the fuel minecart off every other time. You can send it off less frequently than that; it would be fine. But the way this is set up, it does set it off every other time, and you just have a few hoppers. You just have 2 hoppers pulling off the fuel chest here, feeding into it. So that's now empty. It's going to take just a little bit for the last items to smelt and then get sent down to the collection in just a minute. I added in a real quick dropper elevator. This one's not a very good design. It only works for individual items, but it does work for this use case. So there you go. You have a mix of various items. All of them got smelted. All of them got delivered to the player. I'll go back and look at the footage, make sure nothing was actually missed, but yeah, I think it was just 24 items and then all these. So yeah, you can smelt a variety of different things in here, or like shift, double click, full shulker's worth of items into the chest. And because of the size, I went a little bit far over the edge, but you can fit this easily in, like, this is 5 wide tileable. You can fit 3 of them side by side in 1 by 3 chunks. So I'm going to do that, I think, for my main storage. Just build 3 of these and set up a chunk loader. So I just toss whatever I want in and walk off, and it'll turn off when it's done. So that's basically it. This is a simple, like, this is an extremely simple setup. To, like, just the basic functional parts of it, and with a little bit of something odd with the shulker loader. But you can set this up very simply. There's like just a couple pieces of redstone, a couple comparators, and a double chest or a couple double chests with 3 hopper lines running out is all you actually need to make this thing work. I may occasionally come back here and use this though, when I want to just toss a whole bunch of items in and let it run for, I don't know, half an hour. But for the most part, I think this kind of thing is really good. And obviously, even one of these is faster than that thing is. It just depends on what exactly you're looking for. So I'm just going to try to do a voiceover, see how this goes. Obviously, for the build, there's 72 furnaces, so you need to put 36 rows of hoppers. I just built them back to back. You're going to need a few spaces in front for the setup. Underneath, there are going to be 2 hopper lines of 12 from the left, and then 2 rows of 24 from the far end. So you see here, this is where I want them to come down. And I misplaced one of the hoppers there. I'll fix it later. Again, you should fill the fuel before you place the rails. It makes it a lot easier. And then I just added redstone blocks to power them far enough apart for it to work. But you need a little extra room here on the input side. And here I just used 2 hoppers to load the minecart. I'd fill it up and maybe send it off a few times, or if you pre-fill everything, it won't be a problem. And I placed an extra block there to break up the redstone dust. You don't need to do that. That was a mistake. Now here, there you go. I fixed the hopper that I got wrong. I just put down a double chest. So all you need to do, like, that's it. This is fully functional now. You can do like 3 sets of hoppers going into multiple sets of double chests, or whatever you want, however you want to manage the output. This is a perfectly functional working version of this furnace array. So I thought that was pretty cool how simple, like, fundamentally it is. So anyway, now I'm adding the shulker box loader. The observer is backwards. I fix it later. Yeah, that one in the middle is backwards. And that slab just below the piston is in the wrong place. It should be 1 block higher. That confuses me later, but I go back and fix it. And again, in survival here, I added 3 blocks, or 3 items to the hopper below the redstone block. And now I believe I'm confused because I pushed the slab in the wrong place. Okay, I'm adding the dispenser for shulkers, and now I'm confused. There you go. And now the slab's in the right spot. And I'm spawn proofing it even though it's surrounded by spawnable blocks, because I'm just brilliant like that. And that is that part complete. I'm just adding a quick water stream. You can do, you can manage the output however you want. And again, this setup for the drop pervader is only good for like individual items. So I don't recommend you use that particular system at the bottom, but it works in this application. It shouldn't be a problem. And now I'm running it. And that's it. It's done. It's good. I kept smelting just a full shulker box of sand in the glass. And now it just desperately needs to some sort of decoration because it looks terrible, but it works. So I'm here in my temporary testing world. For the moment, I updated my main one to 117 already because I intend to update at least that far pretty shortly. I do have a few overworld perimeters, so they'll be ruined apparently by 118, so I'm kind of stuck in 117 for now. But I haven't bothered updating yet, so so I don't have to exit the game and come back all the time. I started a new creative testing world for now. This is still 116. So I did want to use smelters or smokers or something like that, but because they have such severe limitations and because the numbers worked out really well for having 72 furnaces, I didn't need to, I didn't bother. It's just not worth it to me, but there may be something you can do similar using other things if you want. I initially tried furnaces on the outside, but because of the speed of the minecart, it wasn't using fuel efficiently. It was just a little too slow. So when I put them on the inside, I was then able to get full efficient use of fuel. So this is what I ended up coming up with for the shulker loader. Just with other hoppers removed. Again, you're just taking output from all hopper chains. You have this with a few items in it. Obviously you don't need that many. And then when it's done, it'll break the shulker box and load a new one. And there are some slightly odd things about this. It's like this observer here is what actually powers this rail the second time to get it to pull itself back up. So there, you gotta pay attention if you want to mess around with it a little. So down here, this would be some of the this edge of the wiring from the furnace, from the smelting system next to it. So you just have to get the shulker box input around the wires, make sure nothing's powering them. If you want to have a common input for shulker boxes, which is probably what I'll do. And I did time it at least once, real quick. It was about 4:56 for all the items to reach the chest. For a full shulker box, so it can smelt a full shulker box of items that moved into the minecart. Of course, in less than 5 minutes, and delivered them to the player. And initially, instead of taking output from all 3 hoppers, I was trying to just pull input off 2 hoppers, and then just run a pulse extender of some sort or a clock. But I ended up, I did come up with something that worked, and I tested out with several different numbers of items. So this would be half the system. This goes up to this set of hoppers here, so it skips the last set here. And this is a full set, just one cycle, 72. That's somewhere in between. So, and I did the same set afterwards. So I've tried a bunch of different numbers. You can put one item in there and it'll be fine. But obviously, if you don't use enough items, it's not going to be perfectly efficient in the use of fuel. But it's not going to break. As far as I can tell, everything looks good. And again, in my survival world, I'm using 3, but it looked consistent with just two items in here, but that cuts it really close, so it feels bad. So I'd add a couple more items, like 3 or 4 items, to give you just a little bit better of a buffer, but it seems consistently working with just 2. makes me sad. Oh well. Yeah, my gas farm is still dead. I think at this point I'm just going to give up and make a portal-based one. So, as the sun sets here in Minecraft, yeah, I thought this was kind of cool. I wasn't sure exactly how I would make this work. I did a whole bunch of just basic multiplication, division stuff, trying to work out different numbers that would work, and this is what I came up with. It seems to work pretty well. So I hope you all found something interesting, and y'all take care. Cheers.